was Constantinople, now it's Istanbul. Now Constantinople, been a long time gone. Constantinople, now it turns to light on a moonlit night. Every gal in Constantinople lives in Istanbul. Now Constantinople, so if you've a date in Constantinople, she'll be waiting in Istanbul.
Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking. I'm here with a video review of, well, a game that's getting a lot of attention right now because just like either today or yesterday, depending on when this video finally gets uploaded, this particular game was just nominated for the Kenner Spiel des Jahres, which is an award. It isn't Spiel des Jahres, but this is kind of like for the more in-depth, if you will, game that has come out. And so it is up for a pretty big award, and rightfully so. This game is Istanbul by Rudiger Dorn. You may or may not know that name. He is a fairly famous designer of games. You know, and it's really weird, is like my favorite game of his probably isn't like considered to be like his best game ever, but my favorite game by Rudiger Dorn was actually Las Vegas, a game that I enjoy a great deal. But this is a game that I was really excited to play. The people at Pegasus Spiel who released it over in Europe, and it is being released by Alderac Entertainment Games here in the States. They were kind enough to send me this copy so I could play it several times now with my gaming group, and now I get to tell you exactly what I think of it and why I think the game is really awesome. Technically, this game is kind of a worker placement, but it's more of kind of a worker placement route running type of game. It even has, you know, technically some pick up and deliver aspects. But mostly, you know, resource allocation, things like that. But mostly, it's kind of a race, because you're trying to be the first person to have 5 rubies, and whoever has the first person to get 5 rubies, technically could win the game. Triggers the end game, if you will. And so, like, there's that last turn or whatever, and you can have people that tie and have you know, tiebreakers like with money and what have you after the fact. But anyway, the game's a lot of fun, and I'll tell you more about that in my conclusion, but why don't I show you how to play, and then we'll come back here and I'll tell you once again why I think the game is a blast, and why I think maybe you should add it to your gaming collection. Alright, so here you go. Istanbul. This is the game board for Istanbul. Just so you know, this isn't a board so much as this is a bunch of tiles. You can see that you just put these tiles down, and then there's a couple of different ways you can actually make the board. I'm going to show you one of these tiles really quickly. I'll kind of go over what each tile does, but I just want to show you, like, you'll notice that there's these numbers up here. That's this number here. That number is important for like certain determinations of which tile number this is. Like, this is tile number 2. But these smaller numbers, the blue one and the green one over here, that is for setup purposes. The blue is considered to be played on easy mode, and the green is set up like more experienced players. I have set the game up in the easy mode combination, just because that's number 3, so you're just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you get the drift. You also can just shuffle up all the tiles together and just kind of slap them down, and what may. And that's the way we've been playing it lately, now that we've played it several times, because we really enjoy having like a completely random game board to kind of apply our strategies and our prior experiences to, and it makes the game kind of a lot more challenging, in my opinion. Like this spot here, the fountain, that's like the big major spot where you'll be going back to collect your assistance so you can continue to do actions. And so having that fountain in the middle here in this kind of easy mode setup, if you will, is really helpful. Whereas if the fountain's off in a corner or something like that, it's tougher to get back to it and whatever. So it's kind of interesting when you do that random setup to see what you get. The game is really straightforward as far as the actions you take, but it's the implementation of those actions that is of course, the tricky part of the game. Each person gets this little personal player board. It's called the wheelbarrow. You use it to track all the goods that you have. You notice that there's this blank spot here. Down here in the Wainwright, you will pay money to add extensions onto your wheelbarrow, like so. And obviously you can, put up to 3 in there, as you can see. And then obviously then it extends out how much your wheelbarrow can carry, obviously. Down here, this is where you're putting your rubies. This is a game where to win the game, you have to get 5 rubies, and whoever gets 5 rubies first, technically, could be the winner. You do, when that happens, you do actually, everybody gets one last turn. Depending on where the first player was, of course, but so you can have a tiebreaker like situation where 2 people have 5 rubies, then like you go to the tiebreakers with money and what have you. But that is why there is that big hole, if you will, in that location on your wheelbarrow. You just, as you can probably expect, you just take these cubes and you slide them back and forth to show how much of each good that you have, and when you collect rubies, you just put them in that location like there. So pretty simple and straightforward how to take care of that. Basically, this game is about moving your stack of merchants, your merchant and his assistants around the board, and when you move to a spot, you leave one of your assistants behind, and then you take the action that's on the location. If you don't have any assistants, you can't, and just your merchant, you can't do anything. You got to go back and either collect these guys by landing on top of them on the board, or you have to actually go back to like the fountain where it collects all of the people. You'll notice that there is like basically a sticker that's on there to show that. Also notice that the merchant one is a little bit thicker than the other ones. When you put this together, make sure you put it on the thick one. I, of course, did not notice that there was a bigger disc than the others, and so I ended up having to peel some of my stickers off of the ones that I had set up, because even I could have just left them, obviously it wouldn't have mattered, but me being the kind of like the completionist perfectionist, if you will, I had to do that, and I ended up kind of ruining a couple of my stickers. But no big deal, right? It's a game, it wouldn't be played, and it's not going to be in mint condition forever anyway. So on your turn, you will just move these people around. You do have the option later in the game of getting more. Each person has one more than they can get, and they'll just add that to your stack when you get them. It kind of looks like Necco wafers, doesn't it? Anyway, so horrible candy, Necco wafers. Okay, so on your turn, normally you can move either 1 or 2 spaces. You can't move diagonally, so you have to move, east, west, north, south. When you move, you don't actually have to go, like 1 and leave 1 on. You just pick the spot you're going to go to and get to that location, and you drop off one of your workers and you put the rest of the workers down like that, and then you take the action on that spot. And then on your next turn, you'll I'm going to go down here and take the action on that spot. Now if you want, you can go back and pick up your people, if you will, or you can try to, what most people do, it seems to me, is that most people that I've been playing with, we always try to you go here or whatever and you drop off. Whoops, I missed one. You go here and you drop off, and so eventually you get to the spot where it's like, okay, now I'm going to go back to the fountain. You've taken those turns. You notice this is take a turn, next person goes, next person goes. You don't put all your movement together at once like this. But then as soon as you go there, you just then to the fountain, you call back all of your assistants, and they come back to you, and then on your next turn you can start and go out and go through your route again. It's kind of it's a route running game, if in a way. And you're going to go out there and just collect the different resources that you need, because the whole game is about getting these rubies, and you got to get 5. And so as you notice, you can see that there are 5 different locations where there are rubies. And see, up here, these mosques, the Great Mosque and the Small Mosque, if you can purchase both of the tiles that are on there, you get a ruby. If you manage to fill out your wagon in full at the Wainwright, you get a ruby. The other 2 main ways, the Sultan's Palace and the Gemstone Dealer, you actually, here at the Sultan's Palace, the first time you turn in, if you can see this, just, of course, embiggen it if you need to, but it has these 4 different colors of the resources, blue, red, green, and yellow. And so you turn in one of each, and then you get a ruby. But then when you pull that ruby off, you can see that there is, and you put that on here. The next time somebody comes there, they have to do all of that, and then plus this, and so then that is 1 resource of any type, and somebody does that, you pull that off, and then now it's another blue one, and so you can see it gets more and more difficult as you pull the rubies off to like pay for a ruby at the Sultan's Palace. The same thing goes for the Gemstone Dealer. There's a number here, and you probably can't see that, but it is 12. So you turn in 12 coins, and you get a ruby. The next time somebody goes there, it's 13. The next time somebody goes there, it's 14, and so on and so forth. So it gets more expensive as it goes along. Now, the other spots are pretty straightforward. I mean, there's a couple of like there's warehouses, the fabric warehouse, the spice warehouse, and the fruit warehouse, and these have the green, red, and yellow resources. When you land on those, you just immediately move your slider all as far as you possibly can. You don't have to buy it or anything. You don't have to spend any money. You just get that when you land in that location. Blue is the tough resource to get. You can get them at the post office because there's one spot that has a post office. The post office is kind of neat. At first time you land there, you get this. You get a green, 1 coin, yellow, and 1 coin. Then after you've been there, you move that one down, and so now there's a red there. And then next time somebody goes there, you move it down, and like so. And there's like the blue resource that's sitting there. And then go like that. And as soon as all 4 of them go down and somebody's collected all 4, and then they get a red resource, 2 coins, and a blue resource, and you slide all those back up, and it resets, and you have to do it over again to get all that. That's the process as far as the post office to get a blue. The other way you can get a blue resource is over here at the black market. The black market gives you any one resource, just red, green, yellow, and plus you get to roll 2 dice. And if you can roll a 7 or higher, you can see here 7 or 8 is 1 blue, 9 and 10 is 2 blue, 11 and 12 is 3 blue. So we just roll that. So a 9, I get lucky and I get 2 blue resources there. Also, there's certain times when you can like have cards, and when you collect the cards that enable you, like as with any game with cards, the cards just allow you to break the rules in some way. Like, this particular one means that you can like actually move 0 if you want. You can stay in the same spot and collect in that location. But there's cards in here like this will allow you just to collect any one resource of any color if you so desire. Over in like here, this is kind of an interesting spot, the police station. Apparently everybody's got like a crooked uncle or something, or just a bad person in their family. But when you come to this location and you use it, you get to send your crooked uncle or whatever off to a different location, then they use the location for you. So you can just say, okay, I want you to go to the Wainwright. You go there, you pay your 7, and you collect that. Now, the interesting thing is that if somebody else comes along and lands on the spot, they actually get to send your crooked family member back to the police station, send them back to jail. They get money for capturing the criminal and sending him back, but also it helps you because now that they're back, at the police station for you to land there. You let them go, they get to go somewhere else. So it's kind of it's a balance act. So yeah, you get some coins and sending the person back, and sometimes you can't not do it if you land on the spot with them. You have to do that, and but you are giving them that option. A lot of times, like if you don't choose a wise spot for your crooked uncle or whatever, like up in the corners or anything, if nobody ever goes up and lands on it, you just kind of lost that option. You don't get to use that anymore. And also, it should be noted that like if there are multiple ones in a spot and you come and you land on it, you get to send them all back, and then you get to collect all the reward for that particular location. The mosques are interesting in the fact that like here you can see there's like a 2 yellow and 3 and 4 and 5. It may seem like you have to turn that in for the resources to get it. You just have to have those resources in your I always say wheelbarrow. I want to say it's a wagon, but in a wheelbarrow. But it only costs you 1 resource. So you have to have at least 2 in your wheelbarrow, but it only costs you 1. All the way to you have to have 5 in your wheelbarrow, but it only costs you 1. And like, so this is like for 2 coins, you can move 1 of your discs back to your stack. And that's just when you get the abilities from either the cards or from the different little plaques here from the 2 different mosques. You just get those abilities. You can use them if they're an ability like that where you can do it. You can just do that any time in your turn. Some of them are just this, which gives you your last Necco wafer, if you will, and like this one over here, you can. When you roll 2 dice, and for like say for here or for the tea house, the gambling house, I'll explain that in a second. You can just either re-roll both the dice or change one of your dice to a 4. So there's just different options that the different little mosque tiles or whatever give you. And it should be noted that like there's never enough of these to go around. Like this is a 5-player game and there's only 4, and so you are some person, if you want them, if you don't get it, you could run out and then not be able to get those. There's 3 ways you can make money in the game. Apart from like the 3 main ways anyway, are the 2 different markets and the tea house. The markets are pretty simple. There's the small market and the large market. The only difference between the small market and the large market is the large market kind of tends to have more expensive items that you have to be able to turn in, like the blues, if you will. But like you just look at what the market's asking for. Like in this case, small market's asking for green, red, and yellow. And if you can as many of these as you want to satisfy, and you can satisfy, say you had 3 green goods in your wheelbarrow, you could sell 3, and then you look at this little chart over here and it says if you sell 3 at the small market, it's worth 9 coins. You collect the 9 coins, and after you do that, you take that and you flip it over, and then here's the next one. And so you don't have to sell every single one of those. You could just sell 1 and get 2 coins or what have you. But if you can sell all 5, you get 20 coins. Down here at the large market, you can see it's, like I said, this the resources needed are a little more difficult because of the blues or whatever, but the rewards are greater. For like 3 over here is worth 9, 3 over here is worth 12, 5 over here is worth 20, 5 over here is worth 25, and so that's more, obviously. The tea house is a gambling house. Other than the fact that you can't lose money, all you're doing is you're picking a number, and if you can roll higher than that number on your 2 dice, then you get the number that you say. So 7. Let's see if I can roll 7 or higher. I did. I rolled a 9, and so then I would collect 7 coins at the tea house. If you don't roll, you still get 2 coins. So it's like I don't know how that's that gambling den is in business, because they're always losing money. So, but whatever, it is what it is, and that's what it does. So there's 2 other things that left that I haven't shown you, and that is these 2 little pawns. And this is the governor, and this is the smuggler, I believe is what he's called. Smuggler is very simple. You just, when you land on him, you get to take 1 of any resource and just add it to your thing. I think it costs money though. It costs 2 coins to do so. And then over here, this is the governor. And the governor allows you to draw cards. The only other way to really draw cards is here at the caravansary. The governor just lets you draw a card, and then you can either discard a card that's in your hand, or pay coins to keep it. The caravansary allows you to actually draw 2 cards and pick 1 to discard. Also, here in this location, this is where the discarded cards go. And when you're on the caravansary, you have the option of actually collecting the discards that are on that particular spot. I do apologize. Actually, yeah, you do pay the 2 for but you have the option of actually trading a good for it as well. So, like, if you had a bunch of yellow and you needed a blue, you could trade 1 yellow for 1 blue, if you will, when you use the smuggler. Now, after you get done using either of them, you take the two dice and you roll for them, and then you put in that new location. So in this case, like if you use the smuggler, he go to spot number 2. Remember I told you about the numbers? You just go, bam, there he goes. He's up at the fabric warehouse now. And then like if somebody had used the governor, he's on 4. So, boom, there you go. And then they'll sit there until somebody else then comes along and lands on them. That's basically the game. I mean, what the game boils down to... Oh, I forgot, there's one other wrinkle. If your merchant is on a location and another merchant comes to use it, not the assistants, but the merchant, you actually have to pay the other merchant the money to actually use that particular spot, and that is for every merchant that's on the location. You have to pay them lira to be able to use it. If you can choose not to, if you want, but at that point, then your turn is over and you don't get to do anything. And this is definitely a game where you never really want to ever not have a turn. It really stinks if like you are stuck out of reach of like you've used up all of your assistance, and you're just out of reach of like the fountain. And you're not gonna be able to get there in time to and so you're gonna kind of waste a turn. This is definitely a game where you always want to be accomplishing something. You never want to have a dead turn, if you will, because it's a race. You're trying to get to that 5 rubies, and so you can trigger the end game and hopefully pull off the win. And anytime that you have a dead turn, you're running the risk of falling behind in that race. So there you go. That's a real brief overview of the different spots on the board and how the game is played. But let me tell you more about the super fun game here in my conclusion. Hey. Okay, so there you go. How to play Istanbul. So I said I really liked it several times, and if you watched my in-play video I uploaded that a couple days ago. That was from like a week or so ago that we got done playing it for the first time ever. My gamer group loves this game. My gamer group does have some hardcore Euro people in it. We're more of an Ameritrash group, if you will, but everybody that I've shown this game to has really dug it for both the integration of the theme, which I guess I always mention theme when I talk about Euros, just because I point out that if you can integrate the theme and make me actually feel like even just the slightest bit that I'm actually doing what the game is representing. In this case, traveling around Istanbul and traveling to merchants and black markets and caravanseries and things like that. And that's a fun word to say. But if you can make me feel like I'm doing that, then it adds something to it. Now, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to feel like it for me to enjoy the game. I'm just saying that for me, anyway, the integration of the theme does matter to me, and I do feel integration of this theme. It isn't it isn't super thematic, but it definitely does feel like I am doing what the game is supposed to be representing. It does feel like I'm moving around and taking care of business, if you will. Now, there's tons of things I like about the game. It's kind of worker placement with a hitch. I totally dig the as you kind of the expand and contract action of you're moving out and kind of going going around in this weird kind of oblong circle, if you will, and then coming back and then pulling all your actions back to you, and then going out again in this weird little trip, if you will. And and this is one of those games that the first time ever when I played chess with my father, and I actually started thinking about the move after the move, and and that kind of, and I was 9 or 10, I thinking at that point. But that was the first time I've ever really thought that far ahead, And this is a game where you have to think that far ahead. You have to pick your route. You have to pick your decision. And you have to say, okay, I'm going to go there, and then I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go here, and then maybe with some card play, I can collect one of my tokens back, and I'll be able to go there. But so you kind of have that little channel, if you will. And I like doing that. I like thinking that through in my head. I like coming up with the process that I'm going to undertake to enable myself to get the next ruby, if you will. And and I do like the fact that as the game kind of populates with more players, and I really do think the game is best with 4 and 5. I mean, I played with my wife, a 2-player, and you might think, oh, well, that stinks because nobody's getting in each other's way and whatever. There are, the 2-player rules do and have, dummy merchants and things like that. But But I really think with 4 or 5, just because of the fact that like stuff is getting used up, it's like, so like you might say to yourself, okay, I have the 6 different resources that I need to go to the Sultan's Palace to collect a ruby, but before you can get there, somebody else goes there and takes it, and all of a sudden, that isn't available to you. You really want to, go, to the Wainwright and pick up an extension to your wheelbarrow, but 2 merchants are sitting there already, and you really don't want to pay them all those coins just to be able to just add an extension. So it just kind of messes with what's going on, and I really do like having a lot of different things going on, a lot of different people moving around, and like it really makes the board shrink, if you will, when you have more people. So 4 is awesome. 5 is even better. And I just, I don't think the game is as good with 3 or 2, but that's, just my opinion. I'm fortunate that I have a large gaming group, and so we have always, more often than not, we played it with that larger number of people. The flat out, the game is not super complex. It is not a heavy Euro by any means. It's firmly entrenched in that medium to like, moving a little bit towards the light area, if you will. But like I said, it's like when I showed you how to play the game, like the randomness, like we play it now, like just scooping all the tiles together, shuffling them up, and just slapping them down and seeing what we get, really adds a ton to the game. You can't, I can't stress enough how important the cards are in this game. The ability to move an extra spot, the ability to like collect one of your tokens back to you, just to be able to get like coins or a resource at any time, stuff like that. Really important abilities that I can't stress enough that are important. And the card play actually, like, then of course, adds another random element to the game and adds another wrinkle. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in the game, but I never really felt overwhelmed. And it always gave me those moments, and I mentioned this before in other reviews, the moments where things kind of clicked together perfectly, and it made me feel good. It made me feel smart. It made me feel like I'd pulled off something interesting. And so, there's those aspects to the game. It's kind of fun. It's just fun to play. It's fun to watch the game develop, and plus, it makes you feel kind of smart when you play it too. And so after playing, like, I play lots of like heavy strategy and heavy Euro games, it's sometimes nice to kind of take a step back and play something that's a little lighter on the mind, that also like kind of rewards you with a kind of a very fun, maybe not like on a like intellectual strategic level, it rewards you, but like it rewards you on a more of a fun, interactive game time, if you will. And so I definitely see this as something that I'll keep and I'll play a lot, and I can see myself playing with my family a lot here. This is something that my father really enjoys. He likes games like this, so I'm really looking forward to playing that with him. So there you go. That is Istanbul from Pegasus Spiel, but which will be coming out very, very soon by AEG. If you have any questions or concerns about the game, by all means, please ask them. I'd love to be able to answer those to the best of my ability. Other than that, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. I greatly appreciate it. And until the next time you tune in and watch some of these, you have yourself an awesome day. All right, bye-bye now.